If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need.
Hey you. Yeah you. Don't you dare touch that doorknob.
Oh boy.
In 1692, poor young girls accused those of the upper class of witchcraft, thus leading to the Salem witch trials. This mass hysteria permeated all throughout Salem. All accused went to trial. Bring in the accused.
Were you dancing in the woods a fortnight ago wearing this and this? Ah.
Guilty. 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 Not guilty. 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 Unfortunately, most victims were sentenced to death and were hung. This mass hysteria ended in the 1700s, but still to this day, many question its authenticity.
What the heck was that?
Oh, I'm sure it's nothing, honey.
There it is again.
I think it was a vampire.
There is no such thing as...
Mass hysteria of consumption occurred in Rhode Island around the 1890s.
Some of the symptoms of consumption are the gradual loss of strength and skin tone. The victim becomes pale, stops eating, and literally wastes away as though they are being consumed by their own soul, becoming vampires. At night, the condition worsens as the patient lays on their back and fluid and blood begin collecting in the lungs. During later stages, one might wake up to find blood on one's face, breathing is laborious, and the body is starved for oxygen. Some people believed there was a direct connection between vampire cases and consumption because of the symptoms, so the insanity and fear of consumption did not rest.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The Japanese internment hysteria of the 1940s was caused by the devastation of Pearl Harbor. Many Americans feared the Japanese Americans, and many Japanese families were placed in internment camps like Manzanar. Within the camps, the Japanese had to work hard and learn how to survive with minimal support from the US government. This mass hysteria was passed off as a precautionary measure over suspicion of spies on American soil. After World War II, the Japanese were released and they continued being American citizens.
Communist!
No, I'm not.
Communist! 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 Communist!
After World War II, Americans all over the country were very afraid of the possibility of communistic people taking over the nation. This paranoia came about because of rumors of communist spies in the country and the fear of nuclear war with the nation's enemies. The House Un-American Activities Committee, also known as HWAC, was created to investigate communist organizations and prove that the accused were communists. Joseph McCarthy reaped political gain from the fears of the American public. He created a blacklist that destroyed professional reputation by scaring potential employers from hiring a potential communist. Actors could no longer star in movies if they were blacklisted, and screenplay writers faked their names to continue to write screenplays. Many were forced to leave the country, and many could never work again. Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible in response to the Red Scare to emphasize the absurdity of the false accusations, as well as he saw the parallels between the attacks of his time and the Salem witch hunts. McCarthy's rule ended when he began to accuse people in government to be communists. When nobody believed him, he was no longer credible, and the Red Scare ended.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
On September 11th of 2001, an attack on the World Trade Center occurred, which sparked a paranoid craze against the Muslim community of the nation. Reports of verbal abuse, Quran burning, attacks on mosques, and other religious buildings were made. People perceived to be Middle Eastern were likely to be victims of hate crimes because of the public's imminent fear of their distant relatives. Even today, Muslims wonder if they will ever receive more sympathy for the horror committed by their distant relatives as their cry for social freedom continues to ring.
Swine flu breeds in swine flu found so far in swine flu.
In 2009, an outbreak of the H1N1 virus, also known as swine flu, frightened the nation. Since this pandemic's first appearance, more than 14,000 deaths have occurred worldwide. The craze and paranoia led people to buy more hand sanitizers, heightening their caution to those around them. In churches, priests have halted the distribution of communion wine in fear of germ spreading. Due to the lack of vaccines, citizens have gone clueless on what to do next.
In reality, more people die in the United States from normal human influenza a year than from the new branch of the H1N1 virus. Mass hysteria is not absent from American history and is essential to the shaping of the United States policies. This paranoia has occurred all throughout American history and is still occurring today. So remember, kids, don't believe everything that you hear, for it may just be another mass hysteria.
cycle.